Welcome to the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together. Baseball family, welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. It's Tuesday morning. We're super excited that you're here with us. I'm Brig. I got Brad here. That's what I was trying to say. How are you, Brad?
I'm good. How are you doing, Brig?
Good. I'm a little bit sleepy. Had
It's
a busy
much
week.
earlier. I was gonna say it's much earlier than what you're used to when we do this. I mean, I guess
Still
we're
no
both
excuse.
used to, but
No excuse. Although I will say, as an alibi in advance, I don't know how this will go, but I have been stumbling over my words a lot lately. So, somebody take the wheel. Okay, here we go. Really quick before we jump into the news for this week, I want to let you know that, just a reminder, one of our favorite things is sunflower seeds. And Brad and I have made it very clear who our favorite sunflower seeds are produced by. That is Chinook Seeds. They're the best seeds ever. You can notice that by tasting them, but also it's printed on their stinking package. And Brad and I tried them. We reached out to them and decided that we need to be partners with them. We also wanted to get you guys a discount on the best seeds ever. So now you can go to ChinookSeedery.com. You can use code BTPOD at checkout for your 10% off your first order, your second order, your third order, and any other order
every order
you want.
you make.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah.
Anyway,
They really are the best seeds ever. My favorite flavor is Parmesan Pep. Parmesan pepper is absolutely my favorite. Brad, have you rotated out of Hatch chili?
Well, I've been doing flavor of the week, and I would say this week's flavor of the week is jalapeno ranch.
Ooh, that's a good one. They're all
It's
good.
very good.
I would say
They
that
are.
Parmesan Pep, Hatch chili, jalapeno ranch, probably in that order. Ooh, I don't know, the barbecue one. Smokehouse barbecue is
I
crazy
would
good.
put the barbecue on ribs. I would put that on ribs as a rub if they made it available. Maybe we need to make another phone call break.
Listen here, Chinook. We'll call him. We'll call him and talk to him. All right, baseball family, last thing I want to do housekeeping-wise, if you like what we're doing here and you would like a different way to support the show, you can head over to Patreon. And you can search for Baseball Together, and that you can jump in there. And there are 5 tiers of support for the show, if you like what we're doing. Cheaper than a bougie coffee that I like to buy sometimes. So for less than that costs me to buy a bougie coffee, you can support the podcast. We've got everything from $1, $5, $10, $15, and a whopping $500 a month worth of support. It goes a long way to help us keep doing what we're doing and bring you more content. We're very excited about a whole bunch of ideas that we have, and we need your help. So if you are not inclined to buy sunflower seeds or jump on to support us via Patreon, the next best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button, clicking the bell, following along, commenting, liking, sharing, etc. Just engage with us. We're posting content every single day. So thank you for that, for those of you that do. Okay, let's get into stuff. First things first. Cleveland pitcher Luis Ortiz was placed on non-disciplinary leave on Thursday amid gambling investigation. First it went to suspicion, then it went to investigation. So here we go. This is what's going to happen. He is on leave through the end of the All-Star break, which is July 17th. He's a 26-year-old pitcher for Cleveland's baseball club. His career ERA is 4.05, and he has a little more than 1 year of service time as of the beginning of this season. So he came into this season.
Spoilers, Sprig. I don't think he's going to ever get a whole lot more than that.
Well, it does appear that way, and I think regardless of the investigation's findings, it would be a little bit of a tough sell. However, here we go. There's more, okay? The investigation is focused on 2 pitches specifically, both the first pitch of an inning. Bets were placed on those pitches being a ball or a hit by pitch. The first pitch was on Father's Day. He threw to Randy Arozarena. The game was on MLB Network. The second pitch was Friday, June 27th on Apple TV Plus, and both of the pitches that were thrown were sliders, and neither were anywhere near the zone.
No,
like not even close.
Yeah,
not even close. So if you look at the plotting chart, right, the graphic that shows you where the ball is in relation, came in relation to the strike zone, then every slider he's thrown this year looks somewhat, right where they're supposed to. A slight margin for error, but basically where you would expect sliders to land for the most part. But only the first one of the two in question isn't that bad, right? But the second one,
if you look at it, it's surrounded. there are several around it.
Yeah,
and it was a pretty significant miss. It wasn't a pitch that. There's two things with that first pitch. Okay, so when you watch the clip, you can see that it's going to be a ball. It was not a slider that started over the plate, and then broke up. It didn't. It was a ball all the way.
Right.
That's not a first pitch slider, especially the first pitch of an inning. To me, you've got to set a guy up if you're going to throw that. And so it was like it's surrounded probably by third, fourth, fifth pitches in an at bat, and that's probably the only one that's the first pitch of an at bat. Okay, but then the second one. Oh, go ahead.
I do think though you could chalk up one of these as a miss, right?
I don't know, man. It's a significant miss. It was still like I know Arozarena has a tendency to step out of the box when he's taking, right?
That's true. It just leaves.
But he just kind of like the bat just kind of fell on his shoulder, and when the ball was like halfway there, because he could see it was going to be a ball. It was a significant miss. How you could say, oh, it just got away from him. Right? Like, I can see that. I could see that argument. But to me, it's not one of those things where, like, if he intentionally missed by that much, then, yeah, there's something up. Because that's not, you don't miss by that much on a first pitch. But the second one, it's his biggest miss of the year.
Right.
He basically spiked it. It bounced in front of the plate. Like, that was a big time. And then the other thing, I found another chart that plotted his arm angle on every pitch. And this is the other thing about that first one, is that the first one, being not that big of a miss, however, his arm angle was way different than any other pitch he's ever thrown this season. Like, everything fits into a circle probably about this big, Brig. What's that, like 2x2?
Yeah. Right? The size of a baseball.
And it is maybe like a racquetball. At least that's what it was on my screen. On your phone, it's going to be a lot smaller. But anyway, so it was that, and then there was one like way up, out, and away from everything else. Right? Like, it's like he wasn't even trying.
Or maybe he was trying, and that's where he wanted it, because that's the point, right? That's the question.
Right. Yeah.
So, yes, you can miss. And yes, your arm can do a crazy thing once in a while. Like, I get it, but I don't think it's that big a miss.
Right, that's
you can't
the thing.
justify it, right?
That's the thing.
Why I think
like,
it might be on purpose.
Yeah, you can miss by some, but your arm angle is not going to be outstanding by that much. And this is the thing that's crazy. And so, for those of you who don't know, you can pick what a pitch will be. Like I said, like you said from the beginning, Brig, like, the bet was that the first pitch of the inning would be a ball or hit by pitch.
Or
like, you can bet on.
You can gamble on it.
Minute, yeah.
Yes.
You can gamble on that minute of things.
Yes.
Like, you can gamble on the outcome of an at bat, but you cannot do it when that player is within the next. I think it's within the next 3 batters, because I learned this because I was at a Diamondbacks game. Fernando Tatis Jr. was getting ready to walk into the box to start the game. He had not stepped into the box, and I was like, I have a hunch he's going to hit a homer. Pulled out my phone. I wanted to place a bet real quick. Could not, because he was due up.
Right.
Okay. Which, to me, makes perfect sense, because if you're watching the game at home, there's just enough of a delay, especially if you're streaming. There's probably about a minute. And you have somebody at a game like, hey, whatever. But I think that this kind of stuff could easily be eliminated. Like, because players are trying to get in on the gambling by having their friends place props or by trying to manipulate these.
Yeah.
Because in the NBA, we've had several guys over the last couple of years who are goosing their stats. Like one guy pulled himself from games so he would hit the under, right?
Wow.
Like,
and it would be
super easy. Yeah. That was last year. Then there was another one just this year, a similar situation. Mm-mm. And so, just get rid of prop bets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Just get rid of, because the reason that these exist is to create a gambling problem, because you have immediate, quick gratification or the need to chase immediately. Right?
Right.
So I'm fine if you want to do like I'm saying get rid of even like over under strikeouts. But if you want to have like home runs, if you want to have like score after 3 innings, whatever, something like that, like that's fine. But get rid of the pitch by pitch and at bat by at bat outcome gambling, because that's where you're seeing a problem.
Yeah.
But that said, props to these guys who run these apps and everything like that for seeing these trends and figuring it out, being like, whoa, this pitch. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, man.
That's a crazy amount of detail.
And that's what they get paid for. That's what they get paid to do.
And which I love. So I wanted to know just now, how much money do prop bets make, right? So what percentage of the gambling pot of money is made up in prop bets? I could not find, this is rapid fire, I could not find an answer off the top of my head with Google for Major League Baseball. But according to this National Football Post, whoever that is, prop bets can make up as much as 15 to 20% of overall NFL handle for online and mobile sports books. That's a significant. Yeah. They're not going to get rid of prop bets if it's bringing in 15
that's what I'm saying,
or 20%.
You can keep some.
Right.
Like I said, home runs, score after certain innings, and things like that. But I think you've got to kind of whittle it down a little bit. Identify the ones that players can easily manipulate.
There you go.
And get rid of some of those. Like this one, like first pitch of the inning. It's shady, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
So,
all right.
Because the thing too is, this last thing is, there are no prop bets in college sports for that reason.
That's right. That's why. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Yordan Alvarez is back in his rehab assignments, and now it's gotten worse for him. He's been out since May 3rd. He has a fractured right hand, which initially was diagnosed as a muscle strain. Again, man, how do you screw up a diagnosis by that much? I don't think
the
I'll
article
ever
that
understand.
The article I read said that there was so much swelling that they couldn't see the fracture in the imaging. So, like,
maybe.
Okay, because you've got to wait for swelling you're supposed to wait for swelling to go down before you do the imaging, right?
Right, and they do rush you into imaging immediately after the injury takes place, and that's just how they do it.
Right, especially like as a professional athlete, you go to the front of the line.
That's right.
You're not sitting in the ER.
Now.
Yeah,
if
you're not
Major
sitting in the
League
ER
Baseball
for 5 hours
teams
waiting.
if they could put X-ray machines in an MRI machine with a whole radiological crew in the clubhouse, they would. Like, I think that's how intensely. I did too.
I used to think that's how things worked.
Yeah,
but yeah. No, that's a lot more money than any team wants to spend.
Yeah.
So, or probably
anyway,
can.
He's been out since May 3rd, and he got scratched from a lineup before his rehab game with soreness in his hand. Not his rehab game. He had a sore hand in April. Right, in late April, he had a sore hand, and he was scratched from the lineup during warm-ups for the game. Then the Astros now say he was taking swings at the spring training facility in Florida, and was having some more pain. So then he went to see a specialist. Basically, inflammation was the issue, is what that specialist said, not a fracture. So then the Astros GM Dana Brown says, quote, it had nothing to do with the fracture or the fracture not being healed. The fracture at this point is a non-factor, which we're glad about, but I don't see how that's possible. Anyway, they know more than I do. I'm not in the medical rooms with them, the appointments. But it's like if you break a bone in a particular area and you're rehabbing it, okay? I've done this. And then you work it, overwork it, underwork it, work it wrong. There's a million different things that can happen, different variables. And then it gets sore. You cannot then come back and say it has nothing to do with the fracture. What he should have said and what he possibly meant was, this is not a fracture still. Okay, and let's hope that it's not a stress fracture or something that has maybe...
I think he was being diplomatic and being very careful with his words because of this next thing.
Right, yes.
An Astros fan on a Houston Facebook group, so take this with what you will, right?
Right.
Said that Alvarez told this person's dad on an airplane with a cast on his wrist, said, "My ligament popped during my rehab stint and I won't be swinging for 6 weeks." So if the ligament popped, then Dana Brown is absolutely telling the truth and is spot on that it has nothing to do with the fracture. This is a new injury, if that's the case.
That's right. I agree with you.
And there is inflammation. And that's all they want to say, because they don't want to say Yordan Alvarez isn't swinging a bat for 6 weeks, plus he's got rehab, plus. So what's that? That puts us, this is the beginning of July, so that puts us middle of August before he's swinging a bat again. So we probably won't see Yordan Alvarez again until second, third week of September, maybe.
Yeah, second week probably be the earliest.
Yeah. Depending
on how his rehab assignments go, and he's got to get cleared as well.
That's not something the Astros want to say at all.
Of course not. Of course not.
Especially with the way they treated the Kyle Tucker injury. They're not going to say that with Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point. Stupid. It's the same, and it's anyway. The Yankees did the same thing with Rizzo, right? Anyway.
Right.
It's this thing that happens, and it's, so yes, he's being diplomatic. He's painting with a broad brush, and I understand that. That's fine. My issue is that I shouldn't say my issue. This reveals how I really feel about the Astros. But the thing that's going on here is that they're still very good, despite not having Yordan Alvarez. That leads me to believe that even without him all the way through August and into September, it's probably going to be fine for the Astros. Not great for him, obviously, but they're going to be okay.
Well, and the thing, too, is that you get him back in September, and then you have a fresh Yordan Alvarez for the playoffs.
Could be the perfect time.
Yeah.
It could be perfect time.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh is right.
Trouble for the rest of us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially both of our teams.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because my guys can't buy a win right now, not to save their lives.
My guys can't close the gap.
And you guys can't close the gap.
When the Mariners win, the Astros win. The Mariners lose, the Astros lose. It's just like, golly, man. It's unreal.
It's upsetting. Yeah. So for those of you wondering if we hate the Astros, yeah, a little bit, but not like regardless of any information. Just like
mine's strictly because of division rivalry.
That's right. That's all it is. It's just that they beat us all the time, and that hurts our feelings. So, but they're a terrific ball club. They have great players. They do incredible things despite every odd. So whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, Cal Raleigh ties Griffey for the most homers before an all-star break in Mariners franchise history. This is exciting. And I want to, before we go into more of these details, I want to address a comment I made last time. Last time we talked about Cal Raleigh versus Aaron Judge, I was staunchly, insistently of the mind that Aaron Judge, it was his MVP to lose. I think we're well on our way to it being Cal Raleigh's MVP to lose at this point. So it's not a formal apology or retraction, because I'm not about that life. But what I will say is that in the time it has taken for me to go from that day to this day, I have become a little more realistic, I guess. I guess. Yeah, Aaron Judge has also proven some things that are disconcerting. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, back to the big dumper. Okay, back to the big dumper. He hit his 35th home run of the year on Friday. It was a 2-homer game, which he keeps doing. Okay, but this is about.
Well, it's crazy, Brig, because it's like so often with a switch hitter, you're like, okay, let's see if we can flip him over to the right side from the left side. But the dude homers from both sides of the plate in the same game all the time.
Yeah, in the same game. That's the problem for you.
Yeah, so he has more home runs than any catcher in baseball right now, obviously, because he has more home runs than anybody in baseball. But from the left side, I think he still has more home runs than any other catcher in baseball. And then from the right side, he's like third on the list.
That's insane.
It is. It's absurd.
That's insane.
And I just looked it up. So he's at 35 home runs on the season. Chipper Jones had 38 one year. And I was like, okay, what about Mickey Mantle? Mantle hit 52, but Cal's on pace for 64.
Right, exactly.
So not only would
these
that
are switch hitters,
an American League record, but that would be astronomical for a switch hitter.
Bro. We've never seen anything like it.
To have your name in the same breath as Mickey Mantle is something else.
No, it's nuts. And then to add to the fact that he's a catcher, come on now.
Yeah.
That'll put you in a really exclusive group. Okay, so he has now tied Ken Griffey Jr. for the most home runs for a Mariner before the All-Star break, obviously. And manager Dan Wilson said, quote, "It feels like he hits a home run every game. That's what it feels like." And I can remember feeling it as a player that Griffey just felt like he hit a home run every day. I love the fact that Dan Wilson knows both sides intimately. He's been leaning on the dugout fence for both situations. So he really does. If he says it's just like that, then it's just like that. It really is.
Well, and the thing that's crazy as a fan, even as a fan, it is. I mean, with Judge that he comes up and you're like, I would not be surprised if he goes yard here, especially in like a clutch situation.
Yeah,
you're like,
unless there are two outs.
Unless
then he's striking out.
Right.
Forget about it. Not every time.
But that's the way it is with Cal. Like I haven't felt this way about somebody hitting home runs since Griffey.
Right.
Like as a Mariner, right?
As a Mariner,
that it's like he comes up and you're confident. Like we need 2 runs here, we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Because the ball is gonna go.
Which is crazy because of
it's absurd,
Edgar, right? So we're skipping Edgar to get to Griffey and bringing him.
Because Edgar had his years where he hit a bunch of bombs, but mostly you're like, he's going to hit one in the gap for us.
Yeah, he's going to put us on base. Yeah. No, I know. It's driving runs.
So he's going to bring the runners in. But yeah, it's wild.
Anyway, per Sarah Langs, Cal is tied for the second most multi-homer games in a team's first 88 games. Here's the list. Reggie Jackson in 1969. Now, again, the most multi-homer games in a team's first 88. Reggie Jackson in 69 had 8. Albert Pujols in 2009. What's the number on that? 8.
So
7.
No,
I see it.
So Reggie Jackson had 8. Cal
Albert
Pujols in 2009, Luis Gonzalez in 2001, Jimmy Fox in 1934, and Babe Ruth in 1928 all had 7 multi-homer games before the All-Star break.
Had a hard time reading your notes on that one, but
I probably could have organized that better.
That's okay. I like the information. So yeah. So he's now tied with wow. This is cool.
They've played their cool 88 game, so it is a cool list. And I was curious because I was like, how many of those guys won a World Series? Because I was looking at Luis Gonzalez, right?
Yeah.
In 2001. I got to Albert Pujols and saw that he did not win a World Series and stopped looking. Like, okay, not as important of a thing as I thought it was going to
be. Yeah. Oh, I see why you bailed. Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. I want to know, anyway. I have the same question, but I want to know how many of these guys were all-stars in those years, because I'll bet you that's a statistic that holds true for every one of them.
Oh, I'm
And
sure
I
it
would
has
also
to be.
want to know what their MVP voting would be on those years. So I will look at one and
I
you
got
look at
Pujols
the
pulled
other.
up right now.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay,
do.
so Albert Pujols in 2009, he won the MVP and was an All-Star.
Okay, Reggie Jackson in 69? Reggie Jackson
Yeah.
in 69 was an All-Star and finished 5th in MVP voting. Okay, you take Gonzalez, I'll take Jimmy Fox.
Babe Ruth was neither.
Whoa.
Because he's over. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh
He
my,
had won an
don't
MVP,
you
He had
dare.
won an MVP in 23, but he did finish the year with 54 homers. So
Jimmy
got that
Fox,
going for him, which is
1934, All-Star selection, 10th in MVP voting, led the league for intentional walks, 17. 17 times. And was also led the league in total walks at 111. Holy crap. He was in 150 games. He was an intentionally walked 17 times, and he walk total 111 times. That's crazy. Okay.
That is crazy.
That's fun.
Luis Gonzalez was an All-Star, and he finished third in the MVP voting that year. But that's because Barry Bonds won it. And then Sammy Sosa was in front of him too. So
there you go.
Nobody else is winning an MVP in those few years.
No. Now
No
Cal has
chance.
finished. Cal has never been an All-Star, but he will be this year, and he's finished top 20 in 2023. Finished in the 18th, and he finished 12th in MVP voting last season. So he's going to be a lot higher this year.
Yeah, and he's not only is he an All-Star, he is the starting catcher for the American League.
Yes, he is. He's
He did get that
also
one.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
where do you place him in terms of MVP voting? Is he number one for you right now?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
I was saying that last week.
But you
That's what we
haven't
were
changed your
arguing
opinion? I changed my opinion. Did you change yours?
Nope.
No. Didn't think so. All right. Next question. Does Orel Hershiser think the Astros are cheating again? The answer to
Yes.
that question is yes. He does. Yes. Now, the Astros took the Dodgers to the woodshed on Friday night. It was an 18-1 whooping. Okay. Crumbled under the weight of the Astros' offensive just dominance that day. It was the worst home loss in the history of Dodger Stadium. That is not an insignificant thing. So in the third
Right.
inning, after Astros outfielder Cam Smith doubled off the Dodgers' Ben Kasparius, who's a rookie, by the way, Hershiser. And for those of you that don't know, Orel Hershiser is not only the broadcaster, is on the broadcast team for the Dodgers right now, but he's also a legendary Dodgers pitcher. Okay, he's like a big deal.
I hate Cleveland Orel Hershiser, by the way.
You do.
From 1995, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
I have no beef with Dodger Hershiser, but I hate Cleveland Hershiser. Okay, go ahead.
He spent in his 18-year career, he spent 13 of those years with the Dodgers and a 3.12 ERA over those 13 years. And that's not a small amount. So it's not a small amount of seasons. That's not a large ERA.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I got distracted halfway through what I was trying to say.
You're good.
Okay.
Real quick fun fact about Orel Hershiser. He married Justin Turner and his wife.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, so this is what Hershiser said. Again, this was in the third inning. Cam Smith doubles. And he says, quote, "I don't want to open an old wound, but in some ways they're swinging at these breaking balls like they know what is coming." End quote. Now, if you're new to, baseball, or if you're new to the situation that in 2017 the Astros were accused of having cheated, They used technology. Allegedly, they used technology to get.
Well, there's no allegedly or anything
Well,
about it.
you're
They
right.
did.
I'm trying to be diplomatic, but yes,
You don't need to be diplomatic. Everybody knows.
The Astros cheated in 2017. They used technological tools to relay the catcher's calls between the catcher's signals to the pitcher to the batter from an outfield camera, and then they would bang on trash cans, and now you're up to speed. Okay? The Astros beat
not only
everybody.
that's why, if you don't know, that's why we have PitchCom. The Astros are the reason that they use PitchCom.
That's right. And
the Red
for
Sox.
those of you that don't know, the PitchCom is the little device that the catchers or sometimes the pitchers use as a keypad, and they have different communication tones and words, depends on which one. And then inside the band of the cap, there's a conduction or a speaker or whatever it is that relays the calls. Okay, that's what PitchCom is. Very simple explanation. Now, Orel Hershiser is probably not over the Astros cheating and winning the World Series, right? And
based on what I've seen on social media, most Dodger fans are not.
I was going to say, well, and most Yankees fans are not still over it because it was the ALCS, right? They were on their way to the World Series. Even there's that iconic moment where Aroldis Chapman gives up a homer late and smiles, and because he knew what was happening. Everybody knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the deal, okay? So Dodger Nation, still not over it. Dodger Nation is not the only one that's still not over it, okay? We just don't talk about it anymore because we're trying to be over it. That's
right.
The fact remains that it still happens to be a huge part of the fabric of baseball's history, and it's present because this came up again. So when the Astros win this big, people turn heads. Now, here's the thing, okay? Caparius allowed 6 runs on 9 hits in 3 innings. He struck out only 3 guys. The Astros logged 20 hits off 5 different pitchers in this game. Altuve and Walker each hit 2 homers. Here's what I have to say. They did it at Dodger Stadium. If they had done it in Houston, okay, maybe I give you a little bit of suspicion points. But no, not at Dodger Stadium. That's my official opinion. Well, what do you think?
And here, this is my thing on it, is that if you really feel like they knew what was coming, go back and look at the tape and see if your pitchers were tipping.
That's what I think too.
Because if you have guys who were part of a culture that was so detail oriented that they could steal signs, that they knew how to work the system and to get it relayed that fast, they know how to see if a pitcher is tipping his pitches and how to relay that to their guys.
Of course.
And in fact, you don't have to relay it. All you have to do is pass it down the line. Be like, hey, by the way, if he puts his glove below the lettering on his chest, he's throwing a breaking ball. If it's above, he's throwing a fastball. Like, that's all it takes.
Yep.
And it's that easy. So maybe
really,
the Dodgers need to go look at the tape and see if maybe somebody was tipping. And I know that they trot out a bunch of different pitchers. What, 5 pitchers?
Yeah, 5.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was just a bad day for the Dodgers.
And maybe Caparius is a rookie. Okay? And maybe he got lit up one time. Like, everybody back
by
off.
One of the best offenses in baseball.
That's right. Yes. I think it is... I think he's jumping at shadows. Orel Hershiser is.
I think so, too.
I think he's triggered by what happened a handful of years ago. It's been 7 years now, and that's fine. You're allowed to be, but that's all it is. I'm not putting any more stock into it at this point. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. And this is the thing. If it comes out that they were cheating again, then I will never defend them for anything ever again. However, I don't think that they are. I don't think that there is even a chance that they were, because according to everyone, pretty much the only guy left in that organization and on that team who was there when that was going on didn't even want to participate.
That's what they say.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what they say.
According to everyone.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
According to everyone. Now, let me just go ahead and say that they have, in case you're wondering about are they one of the most dominant offenses, Brad's statement. Okay, of all American League teams, they have the third highest run differential. So they're at 71, plus 71. The Yankees come in second place at plus 95. And then there's the Tigers, who are at plus 106. That's it. If you go around all of Major League Baseball, they don't fall much shorter than third place. The Cubs are in first at plus 126. And then you have to count the Dodgers, who are at plus 77. But that's it. They're right in there. So, yes, they are one of the most dominant offenses in baseball right now. Get over it. I'm not over it, but you should. Get over it. Okay. Anyway, baseball family, tell us what you think. What's going on? Jump in the comments. Leave us some snide remarks. That happens a lot. We really love it. Go ahead and like, subscribe. Like, subscribe, rate, and review. And we want to hear your opinions, because that's what we do here. Opinions. Anyway, baseball family, we'll catch you. Oh, hold on. Before we go, don't forget, we are calling the Home Run Derby live on Monday. Okay, that's a huge deal. Monday, the Home Run Derby, it's going to be on TV. We're going to be on live Twitch and YouTube and Facebook, and we want you to join us for the Home Run Derby. Turn on the TV, but then mute them and listen to us instead, because we have way more fun calling the Home Run Derby, and we will give you more information on Thursday night when we go live here, and hopefully the roster will be rounded out by then, the participants. But anyway,
I'm sure it will
baseball family, with that, we will catch you on Thursday night.